Hello, everyone. Today we will be looking at a use case where we have a bidirectional flow going between Oracle Eloqua using their REST API and SFTP, where we're going to be selecting data from Oracle and sending it to an SFTP, creating a file there. And then the other use case would be we will be creating new accounts coming from SFTP and inserting them into Oracle Eloqua. Here we'll look at some of the options where you can use email alerts, SMS, create JIRA cases. These are just a few examples of alerts and notifications. So let's jump right into our Jitterbit Studio. And here on the left, you see that we have our operations. So what I did, I've separated all the operations in different folders. So we have contacts, where we're going to be selecting contacts from Eloqua in creating a file and inserting that file in FTP server. And then the other use case would be where we will be getting the accounts from SFTP server. So there will be a file there, and doing the transformation and sending the new record or new account, creating it in Eloqua. So if we look at our first use case, in Jitterbit, this is no-code, low-code software. So what we do first, we define our sources and targets. So here in this particular use case, we've defined Oracle Eloqua as a source because we are getting the information from Oracle. Well, all we need is the URL, and this is our RESTful HTTP connection. We need the login and the password, and we select the verb here. I'm also limiting the number of records coming back. So this is our source. This is where we start. The transformation now goes into a global variable. So we will be taking the JSON file because this is a RESTful API call, and just saving that in a global variable, and then use that global variable to insert records into our FTP structure. And then the target here, we have created an FTP target. I'm using the variables here, so we're not hard coding any values here. So all of my variables are defined right here. So I have my FTP variables, and this is the target. The name of the file will be contacts CSV. So there are a few options here. This could be run on schedule, and schedules can be created here. So the schedule can be weekly, daily, can be run on weekdays. It can run as close to real time as possible. So it could run every minute if we need it to be. So you can create a schedule, you can assign that schedule to the operation, and it will run based on that schedule. So for the demonstration purposes, I'm just gonna quickly run this, and we'll go and check if the file got created in FTP. So we're gonna click on this lightning bolt here, and we should get the result right here. Hopefully this will be green and all works fine. The other thing I wanted to mention for just testing purposes, I've created a log where I'm taking the context and writing to that log. So we can see here, it doesn't have to be like that in production, but this helps you with your testing. So you can see all these records were selected directly from Eloqua. Okay, and now if we go, so one thing we want to check is we were supposed to create, so if we go into our FTP server, let's make sure we're still connected. Quick refresh. And today is the 4th, so it looks like that got created. So we'll just move it here. And then open up our contacts from Eloqua. And this is what we got back. So now we have our file. So that's our first use case. Now, if we go back to the studio, the second use case is where we're going to be creating new records in Eloqua. So if we go back to Oracle and then go into accounts, let's get a few records here. So we do have a few records with Jitterbit in the name. So the file that we're going to be inserting, just go here. So accounts, we open up this file. The name of the file would be Jitterbit Technologies. Close that. And that's the file that we're going to be picking up from here, from our FTP location. So let me go back into the studio. And so this is our source. Again, the transformation, we're all using a JSON structure that is specific to creating a new account in Eloqua based on our documentation. We are using a different URL and the login and the password, and the verb now is post. So this is our target API. And again, I'm just writing that to a global variable so that way we can see what information got inserted. So if I'm going to run this again manually for now, we can put it on schedule, as I mentioned earlier. We'll get the result back here, and then we'll, as soon as it's finished, we'll go and check in Oracle Eloqua to make sure that that particular record got created. So looks like it picked up the information, Alameda, so that looks good. Close this now. And go back here and just run this again. And then make sure that now we have our Jitterbit Technologies. This came directly from our FTP server. So all looks good. And then the other thing I wanted to show is when you're done with, let's say you're testing, you're running your operations, if you right click here and click on your operation log, you can see fresh. This is everything that we ran today. So first we ran the contact, and this is where we got all of our contact information. So that was our first use case where we're selecting records from Eloqua. And then this is FTP to Eloqua. Again, we're using write to operation log just to see what information gets inserted into Eloqua. So this concludes our demonstration on Eloqua and SFTP bi-directional. If you have any questions, please contact Jitterbit. Thank you.